Monday morning, and this is the main drag of Bundaberg. We've been all over the place this morning. The caravan is currently having the washing machine looked at, teed up to put another DVD player in the bedroom. Organised the doctor's appointment for Leslie for tomorrow, and so it goes on. So we're here at least till Friday.
The economy of Bundaberg is based primarily on agriculture, forestry, fishing and tourism, with a gross regional product of at least $5.62 billion as of June 2023. Bundaberg also has a major distillery and brewery industry that exports to international markets. The city is served by the Port of Bundaberg and Bundaberg Airport. The name Bundaberg was taken from Bunda, which was derived from the name of one of the kinship groups of the local Tareebalang people, and appended with the suffix berg, which is a Saxon suffix which means hill. It's also a German word which translates as mountain and refers to the sloping hummock, the singular hill rising above the relatively flat region surrounding the Burnett River on which the city is situated. Bourbon Street is the main street of the city, and there is some controversy in regards to its spelling and meaning. Bourbon was a local Aboriginal title given to a large waterhole in the area. A pioneer pastoralist of the region, Nicholas Tooth, wrote that Bourbon was derived from the local Aboriginal phrase Bia Rabong, meaning plenty dead. Tooth, who took up land in the area in the early 1860s, later found skeletal remains there of around 20 Aboriginal people who were apparently massacred in a raid by the native police. The first British man to visit the area was James Davis in the 1830s. He was an escaped convict from the Moreton Bay penal settlement who lived with the Kabai people, or the Kabi people, to the south of the region. Burnett River was surveyed by John Charles Burnett, after whom it was named, during his exploration mission of the Wide Bay and Burnett regions in 1847. British occupation of the land in the region began in 1848 when pastoral squatters Gregory Blaxland Jr. and William Forster established a sheep station called Tarawan. Blaxland was a son of the Blue Mountains explorer Gregory Blaxland, and Forster was later to become a Premier of New South Wales. Blaxland and Forster had previously set up sheep stations near the Clarence River and had a notable history of conflict with Aboriginal people. Conflict continued at Tarawan when two of their shepherds were killed by Aboriginal people in 1849. Forster and Blaxland led a punitive expedition causing multiple Aboriginal deaths. Further conflict occurred the following year when Blaxland was clubbed to death. Forster and a number of other squatters conducted another reprisal, resulting in a large massacre of Aboriginal people in scrubland towards the coastal part of Tarawan. Before colonisation, much of the land around the lower reaches of the Burnett River consisted of either the Wangara scrub, a subtropical rainforest that stood where most of the Bundaberg cane fields now grow, or the Barrelin Plains, a lightly timbered grassland that stretched along the coastal fringe. Neither of these areas was suitable for sheep farming, but the British soon found that raising cattle was possible. In the early 1860s, the first cattle stations in the area were established: Branyan on the south side of the Burnett River and Tantitha on the north side. Timber companies started logging in the Wangara scrub in 1867. In 1868, Samuel Johnson erected a sawmill in Waterview on the north bank of the Burnett River. The Waterview sawmill became a prominent supplier of timber until its closure in 1903 after being damaged by flood. In 1867, timber getters and farmers John and Gavin Stewart established the Winduma property, which consisted of a few houses and a wharf on the northern banks of the Burnett River, where Bundaberg North now stands. An official survey of the area was undertaken in 1869 by John Charlton Thompson, and the town of Bundaberg was gazetted across the river on the higher southern banks. The first Bundaberg land sale was held in Maryborough on the 11th of May 1870, where the hotelier John Foley bought the original lots. Most of the early settlers exploited the timber and grew maize on their selections, but as a result of the incentives of the sugar and coffee regulations of 1864, sugar became a major component in Bundaberg's development from the 1870s. Experimental sugarcane cultivation in the district was first grown at John Charlton Thompson's Rubiana property in 1870, and the first sugar mill was built by Richard Elliott Palmer at his Millbank plantation in 1872. Bundaberg rapidly became an important sugar production region after the construction of the Miller-Quinn Sugar Refinery at East Bundaberg by Robert Cran and his sons in 1882. The Ferrymead Sugar Processing Plant, owned by Arthur, Horace and Ernest Young, opened in 1884, which further augmented Bundaberg's sugar producing capacity. The initial 35 years of the sugar industry in Bundaberg was reliant on South Sea Island workers, who were often blackbirded and kept in status close to slavery. The first significant shipload of Kanaka labour, as it was called, to arrive on the Burnett River came in January 1872 aboard the Petrel. While some of the recruitment was voluntary, violence and deception towards islanders often took place. These labourers had to work for 3 years and were only paid at the end of this time period. Excessive mortality of the islanders while serving their term of labour in the Bundaberg region was frequent. Overwork, poor housing, inadequate food, contaminated water supplies and a lack of medical care all contributed to the high death rate. Importing South Sea Islander labour was made illegal in 1904 and enforced repatriation of these workers out of Bundaberg and other locations in Queensland occurred from 1906 to 1908. The 1911 Queensland sugar strike occurred after the phasing out of the South Sea Islander labour, with workers claiming that many plantation owners had substituted black indentured labourers, sometimes referred to as slaves, with white ones. Workers sought better accommodation, wages and conditions, including an 8-hour day and a minimum weekly wage of 30 shillings, including food. The town's economy was largely based on the sugar industry. The end result of the strike was a Commonwealth Royal Commission into the sugar industry in 1911-1912. The Royal Commission concluded the AWA demands had been justified. The Union victory was a watershed in organised labour in Queensland and Australia. With the passage of the Local Authorities Act 1902, the borough of Bundaberg became the town of Bundaberg on the 31st of March 1903. On 22nd of November 1913, Bundaberg was proclaimed a city. In 1912, Bundaberg pioneering aviator Bert Hinkler built and successfully flew his own glider on Mon Repos beach. He also completed a noteworthy non-stop flight from London to Turin in 1920. The following year, in 1921, Hinkler flew from Sydney to Bundaberg non-stop in a record-breaking flight of 8.5 hours, in the process meeting a telegram he had sent to his mother to warn her of his arrival. The Bundaberg War Memorial commemorating those who died in the Anglo-Boer War and World War I was unveiled by Major General Charles Brand on the 30th of July 1921. The Bundaberg digger was imported from Italy and is constructed of Italian marble. The Bundaberg tragedy of 1928 resulted in the deaths of 12 children in a 24-hour period after they were administered a contaminated diphtheria vaccine. In 1941, the Sisters of Mercy purchased the house Brabourne and established St Mary's Hostel for women and girls working in or visiting Bundaberg. After World War II, doctors were calling for modern hospital facilities in Bundaberg, so the sisters converted the hospital into the Mater Private Hospital, a 24-bed hospital with an operating theatre, chapel and accommodation for the nurses and maids, officially opening on the 28th of July 1946. The nurses were initially all nuns, but they established a training school for other women to become nurses. The hospital expanded over the years with additional beds, operating theatres, x-ray, pathology and a dedicated children's ward. It was the first hospital in Queensland to use Zeiss ophthalmic microscope, the first regional hospital in Queensland to have lymphedema clinic, and to use facial recognition technology for endoscopic sinus surgery. In 1967, Bundaberg celebrated its centenary by producing a coin and opening the Bundaberg and District Historical Museum in the Bundaberg Botanical Gardens in Bundaberg North. In the 2021 census, Bundaberg's urban area has a population of 73,747 people. Tourism is an important industry in Queensland, and Bundaberg is known as the southern gateway to the Great Barrier Reef. The city lies near the southern end of the reef in proximity to Lady Elliot and Lady Musgrave Islands. The nearby town of Bargara is an increasingly popular holiday and retirement destination. Nearby beaches are popular with both locals and tourists. Moore Park Beach to the city's north has 20 kilometres of golden sandy beach. The city is home to the Jabiru Aircraft Company, which designs and manufactures a range of small civil utility aircraft. Bundaberg is also home to the Royal Flying Doctor Service, who regularly transport patients to Bundaberg from more rural and remote areas, as well as transferring critically ill patients to Brisbane for specialist care. Bundaberg houses 2 military bases, Bundaberg Army Barracks and training ship TS Bundaberg.
And even Bundaberg has a version of the tower. Doesn't lean quite as much.
If you enjoyed this video, you might like to check out this video. Or maybe browse this playlist. There are over 900 videos just like these on this channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell and we'll let you know when the next video is available. If you liked this video, hit the like button, comment and feel free to share with your friends. Thanks for watching.